Hey, is your praise offensive? Do you see others search for a reason not to accept your praise? Does it backfire on you? Are people really believing your compliments? Does it come across as manipulative or insincere? Stay tuned. Let's talk about how to use it the right way and when it's going to backfire.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Welcome back to Maximize Your Influence. Kurt Mortensen here, podcast 533. Hopefully you have an incredible week. Really appreciate your love and support. Anything you need at MaximizeYourInfluence.com. Had a good week. Did some various types of training. The big one this week was doing some executive speech coaching. Someone who, I'll just say a CEO who waited the last minute, had a big presentation, needed to create a charismatic presentation and close the room in 60 minutes. Can it be done? Absolutely. Did they do it? Yes, they did. Tell your family, friends, and enemies about the podcast. Can be found at iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. Do appreciate your feedback. So let's just jump into it, make it happen. You know the drill. We either do the persuasion blunder, or the persuasion ninja. Today is the ninja. So I was invited to a dinner. It was a pretty nice place. There was 4 of us here. I'd love to analyze the waiters and waitresses to see how persuasive they are. I mean, here's a group of people that their income is based on being nice and getting those tips. Just like salespeople need commissions, just like negotiators need to get the big deal, just like CEOs need to learn how to do persuasive presentations to keep their job. So I was just taking notes, just taking a look at it, and this is a ninja. This was a waitress, and she greeted us with a smile. Hey, smiles are contagious and increase sales 20% in retail and do help in tips. Very friendly, very accommodating. She recommended the good options. And when the first person ordered, this is the one paying the bill, she's like, that's a good choice. Good choice. And we're going to get into his theme today. And he's like, well, yes, it is. I mean, he didn't say that, but we usually do like those compliments. She was on it filling the drinks before they needed to be filled. It was very personalized. She even recommended a cheaper option for the same amount of food. Hey, she's on our team. She's taking care of us. And she did something that most people aren't very good at. She got people guilty about not ordering drinks without making it seem too obvious, right? That's where the profits at, the drinks, ordering the drinks. So that was the ninja. And there was a smiley face on the bill. She got a big tip. I glanced over. I'll admit it. Got a very good tip. Worked the system, and she deserved it. Because even when we get ingratiated, that's kind of the brown-nosing, bootlicking, scientific term for just praising to get what you want. She did it in a good way. She boosted esteem. Only thing I would add, based on research, is the old double take on candy, where you get the bill. Hey, good on the smiley face. You're putting it down. A little more ingradation. The research has found is when they leave candy, that also increases a tip, but it increases even more on the double take. Meaning, you leave 4 candies, you walk and turn away, and you leave 4 more, right? Not 8 at once. 4, maybe even a triple take. I mean, what's candy cost compared to what the tip's going to be? So it doesn't matter what you do, being friendly, understanding praise, delivering more than you're paid for. They feel that you're on their team. Hey, it works. It doesn't matter what business, industry, sales, negotiation you're in. But a side note there, sometimes getting angry, being firm, not being so nice in negotiation can work, not usually. Harvard did a study that starting friendly negotiations, a 4% bump in success. Hey, 4% is not a lot, but it's something. And if every tool and technique you add adds 4%, you are getting somewhere. Which is brings us to a listener email.
Oh, boy!
Kurt, I'm maximizing my success with the podcast. Please keep it up. I'm seeing a trend, not only in my country, but around the world, that people aren't accepting compliments or praise. They're seeing it as manipulation, even when it's sincere and meant. Is this truly a trend? Am I up in the night? Please advise Timothy. So, Timothy, I don't see what country you're from, but obviously you're doing this around the world. Let's talk about that. But before we do, let's get into the geeky Scarly article, because this is going to help us out. So the article in Brianne Hogan, and it's titled, "The Compliment Might Actually Be Offensive. If you're too careless with your compliments, you may actually be insulting." I mean, compliments, I mentioned earlier in gradation, usually feel good. They can reflect appreciation, your value as a human. They definitely boost self-esteem. They encourage positive behavior. It creates a great positive leadership environment. Even if it's well-intentioned and sincere and from the heart, it can fall flat. So we want to talk about, is it offensive? Why aren't people taking it? Is there a trend that it's not working? Or people aren't accepting it? Now, on one end, we love it, but on the other end, it has a potential to cross the line, especially in the workplace, where it can cause offense, since we know pretty much everything's offensive now. In fact, when you talk about esteem, that's one of the laws of persuasion and maximum influence. Understand, this was one of the 12 laws that surprised me the most. Esteem, really? That's an issue? Off the charts. When you bruise someone's self-esteem, you praise them and it seems like manipulation, you offend them with that compliment, it shuts the doors to influence. But if you can boost their esteem, understand how to praise and compliment and build people up and boost their self-esteem and help them feel better about themselves, it opens the doors to influence and leadership. So we know in the workplace, giving, receiving compliments, it does create a positive environment. It does feel nice. It promotes teamwork, job satisfaction, productivity, helps with the relationships, trust. We know there's a lot of benefits here. Because when people feel valued, they're more likely to connect with others, work with others, and work harder. So how do you compliment? How do you praise without risking unintentionally insulting or offending someone? So what's offensive? A backhanded compliment with any negative insertive. You're not sure, was that praise? Was that being mean? Are they being a jerk? Are they being nice? And hear something like, "You lost weight. You look so much better." Just say something like, "You're looking great. Wow, you look much younger in that new hairstyle." What are they saying here? Is that mean compliment? Good, bad? Maybe you could turn it around. "I love you did with your hair. It makes your eyes stand out," and only emphasize the positive. And that's one of the keys we talk about, is being positive. "Uncle Frank, you're still alive with all the bacon you eat. Good for you, still breathing. You still work here? Congratulations, I thought you'd be fired last year." Yeah, that can come across as sarcastic and not work out. So back to the article. They give the example of saying something like, "You're so strong. I don't know how you're handling everything in your life right now. Is that good? I mean, you meant it." And that's a whole nother list of things to say. Let me know if you want to hear that one on a podcast. And you can reach me at Kurt@MaximizeYourInfluence.com. The links for this article, your free Persuasion IQ assessment, advanced training programs, contacting us, all right there at MaximizeYourInfluence.com. All right, on with the show. "You look terrific for your age." This is another example they give. Perhaps you don't know the person's age. You're overestimating it. They're like, "Did I look older before? Am I looking younger?" Really watch what you say. See, a genuine compliment is thoughtful, it's specific. And that's one of the keys. Highlight a particular action, something they know they did or happened or was a good thing. And watch the professional setting. Complimenting the judge when you're on trial, I have to be careful with that. Is it making them feel uncomfortable? Again, we should compliment more, although some companies are banning it, especially appearance. You can't say anything about their hair, their appearance, how they look, their clothes, because it can be turned around to be offensive, even though you truly meant it. Things like, "You did a great job on your presentation, you delivered the key points, you were charismatic, you engaged the audience. Your attitude, creativity, and innovations have really been beneficial to the team," can all work better for you. So even though you meant it, doesn't mean they're going to accept it. So that's a big shift, just like trust. It used to be, "I trust you, give me a reason not to." Now it's, "I don't trust you, give me a reason to trust you." Or it used to be, "I accept your compliment, I'm just going to assume you mean it." Now it's like, "I don't assume you mean it, I'm not accepting it." There's a little shift there. Not for everybody, just across the board. So let's talk about how to make praise work and the trend of people not accepting praise and looking for that offensiveness, looking for you to be insincere, looking that it's probably manipulation, that you're trying to get something from them. So before we talk about the right ways to compliment and praise, let's talk about that trend of people not accepting praise and assuming you're manipulating when it was really kind of from your heart. You really meant it. So the studies do show there is a growing trend around the world where people are more skeptical to compliments and praise. Why is this? Self-esteem's at an all-time low. There's anxiety. There's more fear. There's the imposter syndrome. Go to the archives and listen to that, where 75% of people have some type of imposter syndrome. That's where you're feeling, I'm an imposter and be exposed. I'm not that smart. There's people smarter than I am in this department. I should have got the promotion. They did. It is rampant and comes from self-doubt and low self-esteem. That's imposter syndrome. When low self-esteem and self-doubt, imposter syndrome, or even anxiety are part of that person's psyche or mindset, when you say a compliment or praise, they will discount it. They're looking for every reason to discount it, that it's not real, that you're just saying that to be nice. Plus, there's what they call the inflation of praise. I was going back and forth on this one. I think we should praise more, but their studies are showing that there's inflation that has become so commonplace and expected that your leader, your manager, praises you daily or weekly, or getting the thumbs up on social media, the likes, the positive comments. People go there just to see that because they need that boost in their esteem. That could be called praise without substance. Good job today. You're amazing. You're awesome. It's probably better than nothing in some circumstances, but when people feel that the manager has to, they're just saying it because they're the manager, or everyone passes the class and everyone's a winner. Many of them are like, wait a minute, that's not true. You see this sporting events with the kids where they're not keeping score because everyone's a winner. They know there's a loser and they're keeping score, so that could be part of this challenge. Now, with that increase of fear, people have that fear of getting taken advantage of. Those hidden agendas, being manipulative, what do they really want? Being suspicious of your motives is another reason for this trend. So praise could be perceived as a tactic to gain favor, to get something in return, to influence behavior. So people naturally distrust the sincerity of the praise. You got to show them that you are sincere. Social media is one of the reasons for low self-esteem. We're always comparing ourselves to other people's great day to our bad day, to their child just got accepted to college, ours just went to jail, whatever it is. Those are things where we just make up these things that aren't even true. So we have this perception of not being good enough compared to others, which triggers a difficulty for us to accept praise. And this also could vary, I would say, by industry or even department within a company, to culture, to personality differences, to even age, is how much praise we want, our level of believing compliments. Some feel awkward and inappropriate when people do praise, so that could vary by culture. And with trust being all-time low, that triggers it too, especially in communication. There's a distrust in communication, especially online interactions, especially media companies. It's interesting, media companies have a very low trust rates, and that all makes individuals skeptical about being authentic and whether the praise is real. As you get younger in the workplace, being genuine, real, authentic is very, very important for them to work with you long term. And it's kind of a mental, psychological protection. Some people reject compliments as a way to protect themselves from disappointment, not living it up to the compliment. But so if they don't accept the praise, they safeguard themselves from high expectations of others or future failures or not accomplishing part of that praise. So today people are more cautious about accepting compliments, praise. We talked about the different factors. We like to talk about people are looking for authenticity and the function of self-esteem and influence. So let's talk about making it real, making it genuine, so praise doesn't backfire and it's believed. Now, first of all, if you're making a connection with someone and they compliment you, say something like, oh, you look beautiful in that dress. And you say, oh, this old thing, I found it in the gutter. I found it in the trash. If you discount their praise, you discount them. Even if you're feeling, are they manipulating? Is it real? Still say thank you, maintain the relationship, and it gives you the time to see, are they trying to manipulate you without damaging the relationships, just in case they were being sincere, which they probably were. Just say thank you. So here's a few rules. Mentioned earlier, be specific. When praise is vague, it's like, what does that mean? I'm doing great. I'm awesome. Really? People are more likely to believe praise that acknowledges specific actions, behaviors, or outcomes. Something they can't refute. Because they have low self-esteem, they'll probably discount it and they'll probably refute it. Bob, when you're on the phone with Mr. Jones and they were upset and you turn them around, that was textbook. Great job with turning them around. Everyone should listen to that audio. It happened. It was specific. They know exactly. This is the most important piece. It's specific. They know what happened. They can't refute it. And another piece is watch the over-exaggeration, the overpraise as it's called. You're the best employee I've ever had. Okay. You're the nicest person I've ever met. You're like, wait a minute. You've met a lot of people. I'm the best employee. When people feel praise is overblown, that's another way it could backfire on you. Another example, a parent always telling their child that they're the smartest person in the world, and they take a test and they fail it. They didn't perform well. You can't fix that. The test just proves I'm not smart. In fact, I read a different study the other day that said parents that say you're a hard worker versus you're a great test taker or smart person, hard worker pulls better for children. Because if they fail a test as a hard worker, they could keep working harder and harder and harder and improve that. They might get concerned if they can fix the smart part. Another would be incongruence, lack of authenticity or sincerity. Try to be sincere. I mean, it works a lot of times when it's not, but be sincere, be congruent, be authentic. Make sure it's aligned with the actual performance or situation. You know, when someone's made a mistake, they've really blown it. They lost the company $1 million, but it's praised by the manager for doing a good job. You're like, wait a minute. They might not trust the feedback. It's not real. It's not authentic. It's incongruent. So make sure it's aligned with their actual performance, what actually happened. Remember, you're dealing with a lot of people with low self-esteem. They're going to look for ways to discount it. Don't give them a reason to discount it. Another one could be timing. 2 months later, 2 years later, anything better than nothing. Or I'd add to that too your tone of voice. Oh, great job today. You're really special. So even tone of voice, even though you didn't mean it, it could come across as dismissive or insincere. Now remember, because they're looking for manipulation. And that happens in sales quite a bit. That's a big complaint as I interview prospects after they've lied to you and they've run away. When they feel the salesperson using it as a tactic, it's not real. It's just being said to get them to buy something. Although for many people, it does work. I remember going to the mall with my wife. She went to a store I didn't care about. And there was a suit store. I'm like, I'm going to go in there, see how persuasive they are. You know, I do some secret shopping, car dealerships, suit stores, jewelry stores, other places like that. It's fascinating to me. Companies hire me to do that. It's really interesting, the feedback that we receive. So we're in the suit store, and this sharp-dressed gentleman comes up and says, hey, how you doing? You know, compliments. What are you looking for? I want a blue suit. One of the most credible colors. Going to travel well. It's like, all right, cool. What size are you? I don't know. He said, measure my waist, wrote it down. Measured my arms, wrote it down. Measured my chest. He tilted his head, measured my chest again. He's like, hey, do you work out? And I'm like, why, yes, I do. He's like, oh, yeah, you're going to need the athletic cut. I'm like, yes, I will. And I did buy a suit only because it was on sale. I'll have to admit, a little in gradation. I knew he was getting commissions, but it still felt good. And it's still something I wanted to believe. So there are times when it can work. But try to add as many of these elements as possible so it works all the time. Another one that's interesting is some people love praise in public. Some people hate it. It causes discomfort, embarrassment. They can't believe you did that. You put them on the spot. How could you do that? And some people thrive in public. So you've got to decide with that person, public, one-on-one, good job, or public. People love the social interaction. Everyone's smiling, everyone clapping. You got to look at the personality and decide which one you're going to use. So there you have it. The trend, why it's backfiring, why it backfires, and how to do it the right way. Again, thanks for being here. Everything you need to maximizeyourinfluence.com. Want your feedback, your support, and your emails. Anytime you send me an email with a joke, with an article, with the ninja, with the blunder, with the question, you get the free gold version of influenceuniversity.com. So become a better ingradiator, a complimenter, a praiser. Don't let it backfire on you. Don't come across like you're manipulating. Don't be offensive. Do it the right way. Become more influential. Become a better connector. Improve your people skills and go out and persuade with power.